Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. What I wanted to do today is just talk to you a little bit about cell division, because there are some things that you got not quite right when we were doing the quizzes from your last lesson, and particularly after a half term of hopefully sitting in the sun and having a break and having a rest, because you all deserve it. I thought it'd be a good idea to have a look at this again and just put out some key points of two types of cell division, the mitosis and the meiosis. So I'm going to share with you some work on this. Right. So there are two types of cell division. We've got over on this side, we've got mitosis, and on the right-hand side here, we've got meiosis. Both of these happen in living organisms, and they're part of the living processes. But you need to get to know them really, really well. What I've done is I've drawn the chromosomes that you would find inside the nucleus of each of these cells. Now, in our body cells, we've got 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. Now, that's quite a lot to remember and quite difficult to draw all of those into this diagram. So to make it easier, I've just drawn two pairs of chromosomes here so we can see what happens. A couple of things also I want you to see is that, remember, the DNA that we get half from our mothers and half from our fathers. So we have the maternal DNA and the paternal DNA. And again, I've showed those in different colours. So the red is the chromosomes that we inherit from our mother, and the blue is the chromosomes we inherit from our father. And here we've got two chromosomes, chromosome pair number 1 and chromosome pair number 2. And over in this side, we've got chromosome pair number 1 and the chromosome pair number 2. Again, these cells are our normal body cells, what they would look like before any kind of cell division. What I've also got here is the number of chromosomes that we would have in our human body. So just bear that in mind as we go through this process. So in terms of cell division, mitosis and meiosis are very similar at the start. First of all, you need to copy the DNA. And if you have a look at the bottom here, we've got the process where the cells have copied their DNA in the nucleus. And you can see that the chromosome number has gone from 46 to 92. And again, you can see that each of those individual chromosomes has made a copy of itself, and they're identical copies to each other. And again, we've got this on the mitosis side as well. At this point, this is where the two types of cell division change. For mitosis over here, we've got those 92 chromosomes, all of those chromosomes that have been copied. And the cells now go through a process of cell division. And in mitosis, can you see that the chromosomes are split equally between the two cells? So what we end up with is a share of those 92 chromosomes. So each cell gets 46 chromosomes, or 23 pairs. And if you have a look at these two daughter cells, you can see that they're identical, right? You can also notice, if we go back to the original parent cell, that these are identical to the daughter cells that are produced here. So in mitosis, what we're making is exact copies of the cells that we started with, and therefore we call them clones. There's no difference between them, and that's really, really important. And we use that for cell division, for growth and repair of cells. Some organisms also use it for reproduction, and you can get some quite strange organisms that will reproduce asexually by just dividing in two. Bacteria do this, some plants do this, and even some animals do this, but we'll look at that in a little bit more detail in another lesson. So at this point, mitosis stops, and we've got two identical cells, and those cells are identical to the parent cell. And that's, again, really important, so that those cells can carry on doing the job that the parent cell did. It might be that they are skin cells that have replaced those old and worn off skin cells that have been kind of lost from the surface of the skin. So that's really important that they stay the same. If we come over to the right hand side here, we're now going to concentrate on what happens in meiosis. And again, in meiosis, remember that the cells have copied and made identical copies of the chromosomes there. So we've got 92 from that 46. And again, just like mitosis, in meiosis, we make 2 identical copies of those cells. And again, they're similar to or exactly identical to the parent. But in meiosis, the cell division doesn't stop there. We go through another phase of cell division here. And instead of producing 2 identical cells, in meiosis, we're making 4 different cells to the parent cell. And what you'll notice here is that, first of all, they've got 23 chromosomes in total. So that's half the number of the chromosomes that we found in the parent. And also you can see that they've got 1 long chromosome and 1 short chromosome. And you can see that each of these daughter cells are different to each other, and they are different to the parent cell. So that's the differences between mitosis and meiosis in terms of those cell division. It'd be really good if you rewind this video and maybe make a diagram of that into your book so you can clearly see that, and you can see the differences between those. And if you put it on an A4 sheet, that you'll be able to see that clearly. So just to summarize then, the key points. In mitosis, we've got the parent cell is identical to the 2 daughter cells. And these daughter cells we call our clones. And it's important in these organisms because it allows for growth and repair. Okay, you're getting taller because you're producing identical cells, right? You're replacing the skin cells when you've got a cut on your hand because of the mitosis, and they're making identical cells there. And some organisms reproduce by this method, and what it does is it makes a clone of the parent. Only 1 parent is needed, and we call this reproduction asexual reproduction. They are exactly the same as the parent. Now that can be problematic because it means that if they are the same as the parent, then the whole population is the same, and they're more susceptible to disease and dying out. But also, on the converse side of that, it's quite a quick way of reproduction, and some organisms do that really, really quickly to make lots of individuals. Green fly do it, and bacteria do it. And finally, meiosis is the production of different daughter cells to the parent. And those daughter cells have got half the genetic information that the parent cell has got. And this type of cell division produces sex cells. The posh name for those is called a gamete. And in humans, those are the sperm and the egg. And in plants, they are pollen and eggs. So the male and the female reproductive cells or gametes. Now, when 2 gametes fuse together at fertilization, the normal amount of DNA in a body cell is returned. So a sperm has got 23 chromosomes, an egg has got 23 chromosomes, and at fertilization, when they're brought together, that full complement of 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs is remade, and we've got the beginnings of a new life. This type of reproduction is called sexual reproduction, and it does require 2 parents. Now, the advantage of sexual reproduction is it creates variation, and you'll see that by looking at yourself in the mirror, you'll see some of the characteristics of your mother and some of the characteristics of your father, but you're not exactly the same. But you've got variation from your parents, and that's good because it means that we're more able to adapt to fighting off diseases and adapting to the environment. The downside of it is it takes a little bit longer. and production of offspring through sexual reproduction takes a lot longer than it does through asexual reproduction. So I hope that is okay, and I hope you find that useful. As I said, go back perhaps and make a note of the diagram and the numbers of chromosomes at different parts of the cell division. And you're going to do a little bit more about that in today's lesson. And what we're going to focus on today is looking at how sex is determined in offspring. So we're looking at how boys and girls are formed from the fusion of sperm and egg. I hope that you guys are all okay. If you like this as a way of me explaining one or two things, please let me know when you send me your feedback from your lesson, and we'll try and do this a little bit more often. And hopefully we can also get a chance to do some Teams meetings. We only had 1 or 2 people turn up to it last week, so I hope that this way there's a little bit of engagement between me and you as the teacher and the pupils. But again, we'll try again next week with a Teams meeting and a catch-up. Right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.